ya atinna bukan lano bukasino no be media to dron wati o so ngamo be mbara o doko kendola ya coming ndebe diamu dinne la mak la diamu kandoro jang komi mobe na ni la opinion on it's not like condemning anybody's opinion mobe ke la opinion on lefo so mobe right so to yela opinion on for respectfully so try mobe little more somebody didn't feel offended. So yaje Gambia coming I memfo ako Gambia be tembo mento abe alhalo mento be problemo men kono men sike no solution oti membe ke no la president oti ay ke solution oti to our problem ninka la moy bake ala diamo was based on that. He was very concerned about that. Okay. However, nga issue soto ala dia ala opinion auto dame wolong. I memfo wolon tonyati. Gambia mbe sulari molela. Mome yalon ko bi. Problemo membe keta for 60 good years. Gambia man sakunda kon. Men keta sababoti Gambia mantano nyato. Menketa saboboti Gambia banku dingol la baluo fang ikorita balu kendo sotola ila banko fang ikorita sinola je kolea membe la banko kan ajarete ye fanyin tubabudu ye ta kenye futa ko ye faje dan ye si la banko kan hani meye kairo soto ye soto ke tubabudu ibuke kuntili noy la banko la fente fo banko la tinya mune atinya corruption long abe mansakunda imam fenne keje imam luanati ima institution reform ke civil servant dabe daji ko be tinyari corruption la ayatina bank Gambia dun fon me fanjeno ila banko so bi pour ka mol soto melia lon ke wole be ke la president oti pour ka killing ka loi betonati mole ka institutional reforms ke mole civil servant daji ko pour ka code of conduct nati in the civil service ka corruption o bang ka atodum do melbe do ko la mansakunda ko ne bejo kam wala namu kodola pour yalon ko be siring Gambia dum je Gambia dingol wolle la bosti inyanta do ko kala wolle bari manyanna do ko kele kunkilin nafaye imanyanna kele la family damaye pour que tel fam e barkandi ani la family sata Gambia dingol melke tel jo melie taye haya wodulato wolbe wolla balwo be murukan koma inene bukata nyaata so binte ngamira lafta president la me yalon ko nanata ate mirala atenala dimbayal damala yamo president o men yalon nga yakaro soto ato ko he is not corrupt beyond all reasonable doubt Gambian ol yalon ko he is not corrupt you cannot find him on you cannot take any corruption fenkela atodum align nola to him killing molo me yalon ko awasata fula molo me yalon ko ay loi bunya adun whatever it takes loi be wole tamandila because yaje banko naman loi soto aka kole ale pour wo banko eta nyato de banko nala judiciary system ala magistrate jojol court proceedings natara ala legal a framework natara among tilling aka kole ale pour wo banko eta nyato so being tel ni ta president on la meyalon ko ate yusundur kumandila ka galake kataje president o me yalon ko atina ka bunjambal lo koteng just 2 years in power president o me yalon ko abe nala le ate si wodulato ate be sila je nyaadi fo sanji tansaba wole be kelate la do ko ti momo si wo kay no abe wo mo si valle nati la around him weda wol be do ko kala pour banko e develop or not ate la hajoti je ate dal alla finna ko wodoro abe so ntel nita wo president o la me yalon ko nyimbe abako di la nyin abe mune jela abe banko dum le jela abe banko la nyaato tale jela so wole ati na bi always nteka fo mole enko nga sanoni damono le sotum bulo kono ate melambe lose lala nga na regret me yatina man capitalize pour pole mol nafa ninko sanoni damono ni luluo atodum wo muneti nko Nim banko be da membi. Lawyer Ousainou Darboe as a president. Halifa Sallah, either vice president or speaker of the house. Sidi Ajata, either vice president or speaker of the house. But the top three executives in that country is the president, the vice president, and the speaker of the house. And we have got these veterans, these three people, Ngamel Tofojang, Ousainou Darboe, Halifa Sallah, Sidi Ajata, Melialonko, they can, we can hire them at this position right now. Nil be constitutional, nil be metapolitico kono, nil be entel be ngalo ne nil Gambia ye Gambia il la fita Gambia la ye bute Gambia ne ye soron Gambia ne inene man fisali inene man muru koma in kataka la mansakan because of bata membelari kam pour ka Gambia samba nyato mo kilinte nil kono menne ye do ko woke ay corruption ota Gambia mansakunda kono because ye do ko kele at nyindole do ko kele National Assembly ngaje bi membe National Assembly ka 3 million motol ta ka kordal ta fenke bambalol di fanna nyil kabri bi je man sonna wo be man taranu National Assembly so bi ndel sulata molle la mel man lafika bunjaw lo mel man ta bunjaw lola mel man ta fang pempen na wo man sa siran ka ya fo etelte jila so nyi mosabo that's what they can do for us ye luwalo Khalifa is a constitutional expert. Gambia constitutional from Hanabe Sino la ya take asafo from beginning to ending. Yamo. Sidi Ajata Wonyama. Uncle Ousainou Darboe is a constitutional lawyer. Bi nintel nga esa soto wewu I justice mutawoli. Ke nlafta femfendi na tilungo Gambia banko kam. Ka constitution beto soto loi beto membe banko tamandila ka constitutional reform ke kanab judiciary la system o be civil have code of conduct ke mba be soto lale ni wosi keno in 5 years these people are going to retire so then already after 5 years 2031 pools more be are from proof all this opposition let them come on board that this 5 years government of reforms 9 reforms all keta then Mobe muru back to the pools. Yamo sare be from proof at the ministerial level. Gambian will decide now whether to vote for Mama Kande. Maybe Mama was there in 5 years as local government minister. Esa was there 5 years as justice minister. Halifa was there. UDP was there. So then we choose now during the 5-year reform terms. Ay ñine ke son tel be carte o fayla ñine so ni Gambia no le momo satra nga proper democracy soto any government that is installed after that 5 years will never go at a fintino la wo set up ko no menketa in that 5 years because obata la Gambia no ye men enjoy in that setup nobody will take them back mote brain was no la kote politically they are aware they know what is good for them and they have they have paved the way forward for that. So they will not allow anybody. Coming fenke memfo. Ousmane Sonko na la Pastef molie memfo jomaye. Ñun dañ am procès bo xamantene mom lañ jaay sénégalais yi. Légui président Diomaye dafa dox ci ko procès bobu nonu. Su buggé wacca yoon bi dañoo hecca nopam bi ñu ne ko sumaraka ya ngay wacca procès bi égal. Do wacca procès. So the same thing that will happen in Gambia too. So after that 5 years, anybody who come there, you want to be left out democracy, left out any changes, we will tell you no, it will never happen here. So, State House man ke dulati dame yalon koy kafuko kari ko totale adunta jenale Gambia betembo mento ata samba nola no mome lualon mome contenta mome yalon ko ay principle soto abukalla fi fenfendiye tama mem manke luati this is the type of president we need. We don't need his age. All that we need is his consciousness, on reforms, on so la jambi ñoo sabala optil wen karila nyanta kela je karila wallahi nit ñi mo sabol nko ale ko na ñi gold and diamonds ñi mol down for this 5 years to retire Gambia next 60 years again will be struggling. That's the end of Gambia in terms of good government. Allah baraka. Thank you.
bugura marathon bor la je so al kamune kebaya fo fami nebe je lo da bana na ba fo soran la mo la mene alon ko lebe do ko kala president ka decision la ke aka do ko la le sura dan lol be fo nin kellet so al mo da ni wewe sifal la boy atul ka diam la fo me alon ko e bam politiko lo man tama ya Ablaye wala siale lo da bora jibay meke Senegal Donald Trump is older Tanzania la president ici contre l'état banna ala mo Gambia drone ke wewe sifal moy bisay jumal man laf kala janke bat albe ke bal mu dal be discriminate la jumal man laf ke ni même man laf kala ke bat il faut faire ça inden so ni ke bara moy il a place so ko ke bara would you like it stop discrimination ma wota na constitution ko no ke ba dini yaay wota je ni sa ke no be kulle okay marathon border state house an sanji kemeni lol na ko be dara ka tawono be kulle amen al come on man al Gambia boy ntamaro le say boy al awaya ina fiki adia mo le bula ke ba defo la fekere ke ba you know discrimination na tamidol funny after all funny ke ya Sadawra Jabara was funny ke Brabina ya Jammeh was even younger 29 Barrow is still young 50 80 old level do ko je be la call 50 is for call ibe yamuneke kabanku ko do betinya namanan ke ba soro albe mol fala wewe ke so la jam boy keba madi newul ken place solo di newul jiwe membe keka kabisa Barrow sira dinde jumal le mol disappoint kam you count them on ibang look at Dr. Cisse anata wewe da jangana pati o lo mbe nyine kala sukura bewe tile all of a sudden now wow look at Sabali al mo dan foni ke ko la boy ko di sunya rek competition o plan sangol ni modo da jaw sawo that's all they know musu nyimga muso be dawda yeah don't let from part wala boy ay na mo la constitution o ko ke me fo walam institutional level regular la constitutional reform everywhere reform do ko e ke non da na le de na non nat hata work la so alal ko tabandi ban al kadiyam ko mo melan ko mam politiko fawlo ke balam really ina mam pare ke wat party
guys la bro lay di bara yebe volende jelen wona bara go yebe bo jelen
Mr. Sam
Assalamu alaikum
Walaikum assalam Mr. Sam
ngalbe konto ngalbe
Okay, I can answer that for you.
Anyoso bro.
Ila fanga wa answer kodi.
Ngamla yole nyini ka.
I'm surprised that
answer the wrong namira is a question.
yeah, it's a question, yeah.
Okay. Me ati nanko lawyer dabo yeke president on. Because one, until being alone one. Lawyer dabo kabring Jawara la mansakunda do okay o mansakunda ko no. And resigned because of some abnormalities. Bepare, ni mansakunda membe so dole be noise kande. So ni mansakunda
not nice.
Ni mansakunda membe siri. He have got the opportunity to be a foreign minister. Again, he have got the opportunity to be a vice president. So saying, you know, he got more experience to be a president than Khalifa and Syria, whom you know they only serve as parliamentarians. They have no executive position experience. So this is where I base, you know, my competency among the three of them. That's why I position them like that. That's my opinion.
I can also as well tell you, Khalifa Saleh has served the parliament many times, and he have experience in how the laws and regulations of this land is built. Lawyer Dabo has never served the Gambians in any position. Besides that, Adama Barrow Yake vice president, foreign minister, and there he couldn't even, to my opinion, he couldn't even prove himself as a vice president because Najelo called me Beketa. You know, we just don't have to go back to history. If you are talking about that competency or where he served as under Jawara, he was just acting. That is his profession. He was a lawyer. He was just working as a lawyer, but he was not serving Gambians to that level. And Khalifa Saleh, he have been in that house. He have been in the parliament, you know, debunking all laws, rules that Yahya Jammeh's deputies wanted to put in place. Halifa and Sidia were always there for the Gambians, to stand for the Gambians. So for that matter, you cannot just handpick Lawyer Dabo Kafoko, Atele Nyanta Tambila Halifa, because Halifa was not even tried in that cabinet yet. And Lawyer Dabo was tried as a vice president.
Football team of
No, sorry.
Not nice.
Tom, sorry. Yes. Mansakunda have three organs, three bodies: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative. Okay. You know, the legislative, Halifa Nimfenke Doku Sidia Doko Keokonon. Moma Fueko, they don't have experience in that. But equally, you know, the executive, you know, Lawyer Dabo also work in the executive. Yamon. So everybody give the devil its due. I experience to damning, I performance ke damning, Maria Karawato. So you know this is simple. Nobody is saying that Halifa Mang during the time of insurrect. It is a member for young Alota Jamejana, James scrutinize and all. Who said, you know,
yes, of course.
That's what all opposition did. That's what they did. Those who were existing during the time. That's what UDP did. You know, that's what everybody did. They were
what credit?
Gambians.
Mustafa, what credit?
The government. So,
yes.
you know,
but what credit?
We have no doubt about that.
You give?
But Mobe Doko,
what credit?
As a beginning, so that there will be no lapses. This is what I'm talking.
Okay, Abaraka. But what credit can you give him as a vice president? I amune falling, I amune sambanyato, I amune ke. I just want to hear that. When you are talking of his vice president, yeah, just tell me the credit. I am in Gambia.
As a vice president, it is mun corruption menke. Financially, I'm not corruption.
I'm not talking about his corruption. I just want to.
I'm intimidation or like a citizen let down mental mayor local citizen or either for point back.
I can tell you one that Gambians can prove me right. Kabirin teacher Sol Funtita, they were claiming their rights. He gave them a time. He told them that if they don't resume to work up to Monday, he will sack all of them and employ retired teachers. Gambia.
So answer what? That's a violation of human rights? Or did he
I'm not telling it's a violation of human rights. But
you don't want to go to work. You are on strike. And somebody has to learn. Somebody justify la janye tambije. You don't want to go to work. Dindi unyanta karana le wala karao manyana tinyala. Ite ulta isita. Iko eko dindi ula karao te tinyala because of iteko, you know, something is going wrong. There is a way you should channel it. If you cannot channel it through that, it's not protest. If you protest, we cannot stop the kids from learning. We'll bring others who retired and make sure that the kids, their learning is not stopped.
Mustafa, I'm very sorry.
There is nothing you can say that is abnormal.
We have all been to school.
You have to think with senses, my brother.
We have all been to school. I told you people are the one who are taking the streets every time, protesting your rights. So don't contradict yourself. You just have done the same thing. So why are you contradicting yourself?
When you protest your right, you
Mustafa
protest normal protest is different.
Protesting for Gambia don't have a right. Any other political party or Ghana, one man dollar right tinya. You know, but Peter Sol new world sit down strike. You know. Yamoy,
yes.
Wala nyanto ibe wala tinyakang.
No, manyana kela.
Yalong Gambian fali data manyalong alyalong memu human rights
yalong Mustafa, you cannot overtalk me. You cannot overtalk me.
You cannot even dilate why he is doing that.
Even here where you are living in America or in Europe, when things are not right, people go out or they demonstrate or they sit and protest.
They use the right channel. They use the right channel. They don't just dump and go out.
Teachers use their right channel. Teachers were claiming of poor conditions. You understand?
We have no reason. As Vice President, he have no other reason. He is just about the
okay.
So this is the reason.
Sam, ngamal man you understand. Mustafa Memfo Ganjang, Mustafa Lumo Waki, Mustafa Memfo Ganjang, it's very easy. Ako, we have gold and diamond, and silver. Ako these three things, ako kana song kanam. So he was just making a proposal. Akamem for Nunje, it's very simple. Ako, Halifa will later parliament the side because all those people, it's a good example. Halifa, Yamune Faida, ima offer a ministerial post, Amansong, Ako, you prefer parliament. I also, because I don't think-
Ite aje Muntole ya offer ministerial post. Ite aje Muntole. No, I cannot allow you. I cannot allow you. I cannot allow you. Bro, listen, parole sita bang.
Yo, Let me just answer this.
You guys are so aggressive, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sister.
No, please. Let's stop being aggressive.
Okay.
We are all mature
Thank
together.
you very much. Thank you very much. Mustafa, I don't need Sam. I can't explain it. So I come in for it. And now I don't borrow Aflako. I don't borrow maybe to be Lamwe, but let me just tell you today, maybe how long. I don't borrow Afale. According to he prefer to go to the parliament. You understand? So in coming for the Mustafa coming for them, he just telling us that we have something. Me along I don't bulung kana song I can't. So brother, at that proposal this platform we are just making analysis. More of who is preferred, why and reason. Now made of gums above Kenyan in question. They need to for why. Imam I coming back, I go for state house toilet. You understand? So this man was just making a proposal. Ako, ate Halifa Saleh parliament.
Munatina lawyer Jabo Titala justice. Munatina lawyer Jabo Titala justice. Halifa Saleh president noti.
No brother, listen to me. No brother, we are here just to talk. We are not here to talk about come diamo angala. A proposal in my opinion long English kangoto. It's just an opinion. You can come and say your opinion too. You can come and say me I want Halifa.
Yeah, that is what I am doing.
No, but it's
Mr. Jadama, I'm sorry. Mr. Jadama, please.
No, let me break.
Okay.
We are all mature. You understand? So when I was here, I was waiting. So I come for it was just an opinion, a proposal. I was coming directly in the platform. I was advocating for Landabo. And I have a reason. No reason only la plateau come. Ate he came, he bring 3 people and he choose them and more my position dealer. At opinion them. So it's not like I go, why you do this and you don't do this? That is his opinion. You cannot ask him why.
No. What's in my mouth? I just asked him. Why does he prefer Lawyer Dabo to be the president and not Halifa Saleh?
He doesn't want presidency. He want to be in the parliament.
I have reason for it. I have reason for it. I have reason for why I work for. So I may deny. At this point, I have reason for it. I go, matter reason because Halifa Saleh Lawyer Dabo So I have reason for it. So you cannot tell him that So answer very nice. I was very happy with the answer. Yeah, asked this is my reason why I have to why I put them in this position. So I tell Mirolo Moldi. I go direct to Lawyer Dabo, no advocate, no UDP advocate, because I have a reason no land the plateau. So the ideal like a fallen like so personal attack go you are doing this. No, we are just giving ideas. You can come and get your opinion for. So that is also like that. But maybe you don't know it. But Halifa Saleh was for it. At what he preferred this side than the other side. So maybe it's more about I don't the president for that. So I come for them is Gambia we have three goals from Tonyalam. These people they are very good. Maybe is a black baby the next president na go baby easy la mal. Gambia
what Ali Halifa Saleh tambindi. If that is the case, that all the 3 are good, let's try Halifa Saleh because we have tried the other ones and nothing has.
Then let's join
try the other way.
Coalition. Let's join and form a coalition.
Exactly. No, only a coalition. Mr. Jadama, only a coalition can defeat can unseat Barrow. That is very clear for all of us.
That's not true.
Yeah, only a coalition, to my belief, is the only way forward.
It's not true.
I agree with you.
Boy, not nice. Balal Marek, bro, after
No. Come on.
Jadama.
What?
Yes.
Jadama, Mr. Jadama, only a coalition, to my opinion and to my belief, can unseat the president, referring to the 2021 election results. Because even if all oppositions would have formed a coalition, even then Barrow would have beaten them. You understand? Because Barrow got 53% of the votes. Half of 100% is 50%, and Barrow got already more than it. You understand?
Exactly.
53%. That means Barrow would have defeated even the coalition. You understand? Yeah. Sign not just forming a coalition, it's forming a coalition to gain back the trust of the Gambians. Because 2016, Gambians are very disappointed from the coalition that was formed. You understand? So we cannot just build. Not nice. Okay, yo munga continue wabi. Iba tuntenga jiwa.
No time now. It's politics and next year is election. We don't have time. Right? Halifari taramolo diple bungo kono benga jele loi kendol kana kai anisidi ka yole. Ikata kai fondu ni kamor. Instead of come on.
Mr. Jadama.
Yes.
You know?
You understand?
Yes.
Okay, if we are building a coalition, we are just not building a coalition for the sake of building a coalition. We should build a coalition that Gambians can trust again, because many Gambians, you know it or you don't know it, many Gambians are disappointed from the 2016 coalition that we formed. That one is history. You understand? So, to build a coalition right now, we have to present a leader that Gambians would at least believe in and have trust in him. Otherwise, building a coalition, they will still ignore the coalition and go and vote for Adama Barrow.
Yela moy na nun kabrin kadiamu bang Sam yela moy na kabrin kadiamu
Mustafa no ngela moy le batu ronga
ngani mem fo jang is like nga coalition nga esafal ñol be fo jele mamma kande. It means like everybody should come on board, like we have to be one.
Yes.
But say nga mo jomal lenati as the top executive, these are people whom are known to Gambians for 4 decades in politics. Nye daji ko be fo mole men loito. I mean, we cannot associate any corruption to them. In the man ngafo janko in the man fishali kataka join mansakunda kai be men oppose can just because they want to have position, even though they were offered ministerial position, all of them in Gambia's government, and they rejected it openly. Yamon. So sorry. Loyate ate Halifa brain was nola, ate Sidia brain was nola, Sidia ate Halifa brain was nola, ate lawyer brain was nola, equally Halifa Nil brain was nola. This man is a constitutional lawyer, this one is a constitutional expert, so Nil be la expert soto in their area of responsibility. It will not be like 2016. May alonko, my party botanaring exile le mamfel longa miyakoto yake ministry, Henry Gomez yake ministry, at the end will be not. So it's not something like that. These are people who have been in Gambia for 4 decades in politics. So obviously, I don't know, what do you want Gambians to look for now?
Me respond la surwa kangolo ne atara ye surwa kango moy nte man wahumane man yo Mustafa nga wala like question bobu, because man ma wa Mustafa neko teachers they have the right to demonstrate comme yo noko wahe holan fofu nonu dawal kati train lok fiura yi ñom legi dañ dé sisu because of certain conditions, overtime, overwork, low salaries, whatever is the reason, then they talk no protest, no ben train to daw bir holan. Why lolu taxut government bi de na si wala president wala vice president di na si munelen so len delu work on Monday, I will sack all of you. Lolu Mustafa nga wala like question bo, because man I am in for that protest. I was asking Mustafa why did Dabo had to come out to say that if the teachers don't resume back to work, he is gonna sack all of them and replace them with retired teachers. Okay, is it clear for you now?
It's clear, but it just doesn't make sense. Why does he have to say that? And my other question is that what has he done for
No, don't bring 2 questions, one at a time, just wait. If you still want that question to be answered.
And I said my other question is, listen to my English very well. Thank you, sir. Let's all be like respectful here.
disrespect you. We are just telling you to take your question one at a time. That's not
Because I am not your child that you are going to talk to.
know how to speak your
Thank
English,
you.
how to frame,
Mustafa.
make your
No,
sentences.
Mustafa, allow
This is
her.
no disrespect.
Mustafa, be fair,
I said
be fair
one
to
at
her.
a time. You have answered one question. If I am to answer it, let me answer that one before you will come with your second question.
Mustafa, he already answered my question, and I said my next question
Not
is.
the one. He said
my
no.
next question.
He said he is not the one to answer that question. It should be directed to me. So I said hence he mentioned me. Let me answer that question before you will come with another question.
He is the one that I want to
you have
I
to.
saw you up here and I didn't want to talk to you, and I decided to talk to him. And I said, my next question is, that means that I don't want to talk to you. And if I don't want to talk to you respectfully, don't talk to me. Let's all be mature and be respectful, please. Thank you.
Sister, yo dega nga man fuma wahe, man mane, man wahuma lolu, man I am against that statement from Mr. Lawyer Dabo. Ne, teachers isundelu ute back to school on Monday, he will sack all of them and replace them with retired teachers. Why Mustafa? Amon na ground bo hamne mom lol lawa, mune so gise Lawyer Dabo mu walol wala teachers walu ñoo protest for what, which I found totally wrong, because everybody have the right when the working place, when your working conditions are not good, when you feel like nothing is in place, you have right to go and make a sit-down strike. They didn't go to spoil any place. They didn't put people into danger. They just sat and decided not to take their lessons. So, and it is their democratic right. It is their right to say that the conditions at the teaching field or whatever it is not right for them. But I just had a statement from a vice president who said, if you don't resume back on Monday, you will be sacked and replaced. Lola one rek.
Order that he needs to be a president. We need to know.
Answer.
Yes, I am mood.
Thank you. Lima wa sister bi moyne. Lim la ni Mustafa Mowara to give that answer. Sam dulati muna dimbele. Because Sam si bopam dafa laaj Mustafa. Dama diga
Mustafa.
Jadama, if you want to answer, you can answer. I don't want to answer her question equally.
Well, okay, no problem. And second question, sister. Hamga nilen ko defe. So laajte danga may gay tontu la ñom tamit sun amé liñ la laaj la ko nga tontu.
A la second question ko ako Mr. Lawyer Dabo
Sister ngane balal sister ngane
You understand Uncle Gomsa Baba, because Ntela life and you like so you mun ke life tapote. I'm one of the people me I congratulate life tapote every time. You can understand. So
I will add that there if he still want me to answer. Okay, one kukilimbe fole lawyer Adam Barola Mansakunda yewola thinke the imala entire life for the only Adam Barrow's government when he was serving there as a serving member of that government. I menke Meyaloko had impacted the lives of Gambian youths or Gambians in general. One, lawyer as a foreign minister, Kabranata. We were not in the Commonwealth. Atele Murundi back into the Commonwealth. Okay? I moved Murundi back into the Commonwealth. Now, international relationship was totally, shattered. It was not the international relation with the West was totally, not cordial. Atele nata I will be resto. Yamo. Bepare, the coffers of the state, the funds, the resources that were there, the financial resources, was almost at the verge of collapsing. He is the one who went internationally, then he went with a list called the shopping list that Gambia needed, immediately to the Chinese, to the Western, and then he presented those shopping lists. That was the time he came with Adam Baro Kafuko, Ninkodo Natajan, Hanin found they will enjoy. Yamo. Abeman now, but some of it came. Yamo. You know, so like the bridge in URR, Melfo, and all those things, Silol Mel Continental, this was all the effort of Lawyer Dabo as foreign minister. So sit down with them.
NBD.
I'm not even going
National Development Plan. National Development Plan.
Okay.
Okay. Madama Amdoma, love to friend and Kala Mustafa.
Okay, sister, how about well, no, Ali Batun. Sister, if any Ninka follow, Ning answer Mendita, I econo fale dum fodum, you have something.
Answer Mundi Naka, I am kono fale, I can't understand. Papa, not ask question, Saban, not last question. Benu Kamwe time pass on TikTok live, Jamal Biji, Eko, lawyer double a kaitos, Ninimun Karonga Mume, lawyer double a kaitos sign, Pulka Boysol deport Gambia. Left side of Punyatele, Fenlon jail, please put your answer. For that is true, for that is not true.
Because come on, TikTok live.
TikTok live, o time will be Benuka Boyol deport Gambia. Mojama be life, Doba for lawyer double myself, Doba for Caning Adam Bolo, send, Doba Catelo advice Nindial. Prior send, Suntela Nin Karamunti. I'm a king am wing am with them. Suntela of a guy in car forward. That is true. Because Nyata Munto Nyati. Ye made a moneta bagway, Nani, Futa to have the Kanaka the Kemurundi, or Diamo Seattle.
What we not Sabanjan in Karo, dear? Okay. Maybe tomorrow dossier Magoya. Mustafa, I love that je fanundila.
Yeah, Ninja Manual Mana, if she still want me to answer, I can come up.
Yeah, this is the one in final J. This is the one in final J. Well, just sister, just for go Purialon, like, one more political diamond leti. Oh, nobody in Gambia, because no mukuti me along go mutonya no be ndanite ndol fongote moyno la ñu Facebook odo dun tem moyno la adama balo fo dat because ndol be na president lon hana dindi yawato membe ka ka be fo. So what about din adama din la da boy wodi protection no sign ite fongo iko ya moy la ya moy mel ni ñi ka sign ni ko itol fo ye ñi ka evidence maybe you cannot remember, maybe ya je rek scrolling won mu kulleti mi ango won nan mon soto because ni won soto da bi ndani te ndol be dem moy la jang because la da ate got for soto da fam pour que lo ko molier attendez pour que molier ay ke UDP la flag bi yani so won mu kulleti mi ango rek won mu political mol leti mi ango mol ka for rek pour que mol kam fandi o ko modul fo moduli bari amanke kuti mi ango ko asoto tal. So kulem me along it for imagining kakanjane, bari ya moy la moy le. If you are not even sure what the question you are asking. Send me along good in for it for jing kai ba for go jinde bring moy onim bite mamma moy ko den. So ni ko be kumol membe moy le ni ko wol be jing kala jak. Dul be je men important de la question very very important wala la question fulan no la da way mu nek mo je Gambia jak. So but nga Mustafa Jama explain you but no me si nse do fanam fu e bari woda madam wala we sile so bari nyindo nyina wala wonta kuso rente because nyom kuso rente hala la opponent no do le use la because mo la fi wala mol men you told ye ba fara ina fu gambi ina fu sokon ina fu tuwa bu du jang ye muru ike muru ye ti poto sa o ko kuso rente
Okay.
Kuso rente yeah.
Okay, this is 30 seconds nga domandin la fay bemenka pour ala last question to clear her mind more. Okay. Yaje in politics, when you have your political rivals, they try to use things that might disqualify you and qualify them. One, there is nobody in Gambia government, who will ever produce a document that signature you are talking of. Signature is an evidence, of, somebody, agreeing to certain, agreeing to certain terms and conditions. So until and unless that signature, is presented, there is no proof. One. Secondly, this, yalo nintelota jangoeko. The select committee on diaspora issue, when they went to, when the representative of the National Assembly went to the diaspora about this deportation thing, it was led by a Honorable Sidia Jata of PDOIS with the vice president and Mamburenjai, of the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So if I said that was the time they signed for this deportation, then I will not bring any proof. But I'm just alleging because I cannot bring any proof. Though I know they went on dialogue on those things, but there is no official signature that is presented, that was Mamurenjai or Aissatou Touré or Khalif or Uncle Sidia. So, I will be very much ignorant just to score a political point to accuse them of they are the one who signed it if I cannot bring any proof. Likewise, in the case of lawyer Dabo. So obviously, you were just speculating, they say. That's what everybody is saying, they say. Even, Gambia government cannot prove it. The international community cannot prove it. So why should we believe that? Why should we take it as a political point to discredit somebody political credibility? Thank you.
Okay, all right. I'm having Malma also is here. Right.
Man question man abal len wow.
Right.
Because ntol be ngajele ko kabri coalition Adama Barrow select as the flag bearer alayake anata ay winter keta presidency. He employed Lawyer Dabo to be his foreign minister and later the vice president of the Gambia. So to be my vice president, it means that I trust in you and that we have to work hand in hand to take the country forward. But in Ajale ko hani ala vice president kono, he was campaigning. And UDP called from Kafoko Fango, Kabria Katanu ala campaign that he was not using government vehicles. He was which is true. He was using his own vehicle. But don't you think that was a game of undermining? Because a president who trusts you, at least akoy ko nanga banko doku na makoy as the vice president hani ninte tamata fa you are representing him as the president for that time. You understand? But we see that another Frita, he was going on campaign. So don't you think that that is a little bit I cannot understand it, because it seems that for him he was only interested in the presidential seat, because naye makoy ngeke vice president ngabanko tamandi ite you are going and campaigning in your extra free times, and so how do you see that, Gomchabopa? Because UDP didn't make it their Congress to say that Lawyer Dabo will be their next president in 2021 presidential candidate. Congressman can follow. Just as a vice president, he was going extra in his free times campaigning to be the president, which for me means he was undermining the president.
Okay, let me answer that. You want an answer to that question, right?
Tap and see, guys.
Okay.
Tap and see.
Okay.
Let's go. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When Uncle Lawyer Dabo was the vice president or in Adama Barrow's government, and he was going on campaign, at UDP rallies, not using his official vehicle but his private vehicle, know that there, somebody wearing a cap of politics and somebody wearing, a cap of government is quite different. Lawyer Dabo is a politician and is a leader of a political party. This was the time after the presidential election. We have the National Assembly elections. We have the councillors elections. We have the mayoral and chairman elections. And each of these parties were contesting as their individual political parties. Lawyer Dabo being, the leader of a political party, after his official mission, he had the right to put on his political cap and go and, and campaign for his candidates that his party have presented to the people. So obviously, what is wrong with that? That was not a presidential campaign. That was a local government and parliamentary elections. So what is wrong with that? That's my question. What is wrong with that now? That's a question for you.
No, Parewolo answers my question. Why it's okay, no problem. We can move forward.
Answer. That done them campaign. That done them campaign time Bob vice president, right? Manela time bobu nonu. It was not presidential. It was not presidential campaign. It was parliamentary and local government election. Te parti bu nekk dafa taxawal nit ñam ñi. Te Lawyer Darboe moom moo nekk head of UDP. Moom moo nekk secretary general of UDP. So mu ngi dem campagne pour moom candidate yim taxawal ci tuuri UDP pour ñu win. Su wàccee office daf dee génne mbaxana nguur. Mu sol mbaxana politique mbaxana.
Okay, nangu naa
dem campagnal nit ñam. So Manela, what is wrong with that?
No,
I'm not answering the question, legi yo nakanga buga ma answer question bi.
No, it's okay, okay. But just tell me in short. Just summarize it in short to tell me what brought NPP. What brought NPP? Just summarize it for me.
Suma brother, sir, am nga say lum la waxal ni. Yo jeexal nga wax bi de. Yo nga ne. Yo man dama like sa yo no frame sa question bi sa nga ne. Lawyer Darboe dafa liggéey ba pare mu wacha mu jël private vehicle them politics. No problem. That is very correct. And in every government and in every institution, no law wanna them in. When it's time for politics, we politics. When it's time to work, we work. So I mungla wane.
Okay.
Bul fate de mungla wane legi. Yo yange wane munge undermine presidency bi. No, mungla wane legi. He moves the presidency because my vice president or whatever you call it, foreign minister. So why mungla wane? You ngi am ci parliamentary ki the same man mo nek secretary general UDP bi e pare mo nek sen flag bi ala because this time mu ngi won joge on kaso. So bul faté lolu. So du mu la nek ci presidency bi or ci government bi mu faté on party bi. Bul faté ne mu ngi am responsibility.
Waaw dama nangu na fu
ki waaw sar man dama laccé ñaar ñi because digeen bi actually lan na question bobu non why waaye man dama bëgg a dellu si question boobu noonu léegi du ma dee def nii nag waaye dama bëgg a profité rek so pour ma understand man mii nekkuma Gambia time boobu noonu so mu ma leer understand what the reasoning behind ñu ne teachers yi buñ defee strike seen party leader dafa wax ne buñ delewutee dina leen sack te dina leen replace with retired teachers yi waaw léegi ndax teachers yi the grounds for their strike. Usually, Luma understand a lot of strikes has to do with conditions of work and payment, salary, for example. Hana teachers send salary the for mutna, opena, the for jigidayo, one of them questions you don't like about the grounds for their demonstration is unreasonable to the point that they will be sacked if they didn't go back to work. Man, lolo mo neka suma question.
Okay.
It was more about conditions. It was more about overtime and being paid bad salaries.
Well, Sam, how nyom you answer?
Okay. The reason was very simple. One, government bo hamantene amago 2 years. Hamga, dafa ñëw replace a government waxoon naa ko fii bi nga xamante dafa inherit a lot of corruption, lot of abnormalities. So if teachers are striking because of their salary or their working condition or whatever, know that nurses are facing the same thing. Know that the police is facing the same thing. Know that all civil servants are facing the same thing. There was no there was no plan for salary structure or conditional. The only thing is to fix the country and recover more money so that these things can be done through institutional reforms and salary upgrading. Yen so len ñëwé government bo xamantene amagu sax 2 years. After 22 years of started government, financially and with policies and everything, ngane yo by force government nala defal yo kena rek only your sector. You don't care about the others. Are you doing justice to Gambian people?
Xam nga ku nekk
da nga travel
yow looy wax ni xam nga pause da nga war a génn si lu nga nekk yow foo ma yóbbu la si paa bu nekk fële ne pour mu tax sa gémmiñ bi parce que yow lu ñu dee wax moom saa waay
non gënti ka moo ko waxoon de mais soo ñëwee non astafurlah sooy ba nga ko jawale gënti nga moom maa ngi ko jawale
am saara ma def picture bay gina mun a gis bu baax jégalu
Security guard aduga. Wa yalla baax na.
Have a look. It is open.
Yes, this is 7. So I said 6.
Aha, mu ngi nii léegi yaa ngi ko gis bu baax.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Balal len man lu tuuti rek ama fi égal de. Xam nga man activiste la. Waaw so lu kóolul si benn side bi warut a kóol si benn side bi tamit ndax du dëgga. Lu bon baro kilifa la dafa am njaboot. waaye biñ fi ajee taalib démba muy fonante kii nii xam nga neexut leen woon.
loolu AI la loolu fake.
waaw déglu ma rek waaye bii tamit lii dafa ñaaw kii suma goro la.
pour ko def lii nii la
waaye lii dafa ñaaw nag suma goro la. léegi affaire bi xam nga naka la nag ummi léegi gassa la maa yéen waaw. waaw léegi guerre bi commencé na signé nañ ko bés ni ki tey nag dinaa guerre yéen seen plateforme bi.
Alaaji Abs
naa
Alaaji Abs déet xam nga so bu ñëwee teg loo xam ne dëgg la loolu lañ ko war a nangu waaye buñ tegee loo xam ne du dëgg boobu day ko daa waaye nag su ma dijaay nag dëgg nag suñu économie bi mu ngi doog a feeñ.
waaye man Pa Ous lay blâmer because of Pa Ous lu mu bon am lekka na si brown envelope yi. you understand Pa Ous yow yaay jaam.
musu ko fi wax de.
hay lekka na di gis nga time bi daan dem noonu Banjul di def lifin naka la tuddaati GP.
waaw.
tay jamono boobu la. Pa Ous lekk na de kii.
Pa Ous kaay.
kii da ngeen ko war a teg koota deg.
léegi Pa Ous minute loolu.
baax na
man kay maa ngi soog a understand gis nga nit. gis nga nit loo def rek.
waaw
da ngaa fexe pour jiñ ko keneen. moo tax saa yu eggee naan PDOIS Halifa jox na leen naka Baro jox na leen 170 li nga 170 bi yëpp moom la Pa Ous yow tamit yow dañu war a wax li bu yaaga
Pa Ous la ñun ñaar xamante nañ man Pa Ous lim ci lekka sax man lekkuma ko man bidongi diwlin laa ci am ak liñoŋ ak lan saaku maalo loolu during Covid bi la sax man loolu rek laa ci am.
so Pa Ous moom nekk 170,000.
la ilaha illallah Pa Ous bi moo lekk kenn lekkul.
Pa Ous nag war ngaa di nga.
ma kon ñu ñëw Pa Ous commission kon.
waaw dafa war a uyu ji de.
waa soobee yaa moytu leen Pa Ous mi de.
waa soobee yaa ñoom fan lañ toolu. dafa mel.
gaa ñu ngi fi de.
ba léegi soobee yaa seen safara dafa fay.
pour am gaa ñu ngi fi de.
déedéet kay
taalib mooy kay yaa nga Gambia lu
non taalib taay kay muy yëngal jamono.
taalib dafa ees comme gars nuñ ko waxee rek Gambia nuñ ko ees.
waaye buñ ko xeeb de mun naa am dara de.
non dina am dara sax nag dul jël yëpp.
dina am dara waa Bakaw dinañ ko saanil. te fële tam dinañ ko saanil fii naka la daati xaw ma fara feeñe na xaw ma dëkk bi tur naka la daati si àll bi la de. dina am dara nag. man maa ngi xalaat sax pour dem register ji dégg naa ñu ngi wut kuy register.
oncle an ko ne yow Baro
non je waroon register di.
non man duma Baro de man Baro raxasu naa moom long time ago daa ila duma Baro dama ruubee nii rek waaye duma Baro.
yow am nga voter's card ba pare di. yow am nga voter's card ba pare di.
lu tax nga wax loolu.
last time bi amuloo voter's card.
so di same voter's card bi la ñoo yuusaat ndax. ma fa
waaw yow sa boss ba tey mun na moo dem ñu amutoon ñoom ñooy ut.
ok waaw.
waaye léegi xanaa man suma yaay mënut maa utal.
non yow foog nga dem.
yow foog nga dem. balaa ñoo ne nii yow doo fu Gambien. gars yi gaaw nañ si de suma gars yi.
immigration na xaw ma ñoom la nag xaw ma ñan dinaa leen taakerok. waaye nag yow nag Umi dama la seetlu ba seetlu yow Baro nga gën a aayal ni gars yi yow tam ban parti nga bokk xanaa. man Halifa Sallah laa wax bi na leer.
yàlla
waaw dem naa de.
no comment
Jobs guy don't know roll back registered data from 2016 or from 2021 na ko guy they roll it. Roll guy they pick up it from.
From 2021.
So not from 2016.
I doubt it.
No, from 2021.
2021 lah.
No. Because I'm not quite like that question. I'm voter card since 2016. I'm not hold validity, but I was not sure.
Well, keep it maximum
From 2021 lah.
Yeah, from 2021 lah. Yeah. Man for 3 months before the election anyway. Jamano yi.
Uncle
estimated numbers.
Wow, full time. Yeah, mo neka bi ma UDP di attack nunu. Man lolo ma yobu si baro de. Man lolo ma yobu won si baro de.
Yow da wara register kon yow amagulo voters card.
La 2021 la di.
Wow, I swear 3 months before the election. Bobu guy.
Wow, man sila dere man na ni 3 months before election la dem Gambia.
Okay.
Wow, lo la ni. Yo ta sere Gambia di. Fi Bruce bi. Mayo.
Dañu nañ fa waaw.
Ta sere nañ fa ñaari yoon.
Yeah. That's right.
Man billahi ummi du caaxaan de man loolu yëpp loolu rek ma yóbbu woon si baro de billahi du caaxaan suma diggante yàlla waaye baro man xamoon naa ne he's not the right one billahi
waaye bu leen def loolu this time nag jàppale leen
no this time no this time did it
ma ne number bi lan nga foog ne moo nekk estimate bi this time because 2021 guy 900
lañ amoon waaw 900 lañ amoon bëri na de
dama ragal baro isil ñu 1.4 de
nga dégg de no waaye this time du ñeme no xam nga dama wala no xam nga lu ma la wax nii baro this time du demee noonu de non this time du demee noonu xam nga last time bi soo gisee baro am voters yu bari yooyu noonu dafa am lu ci laxasu woon si ron you understand so bugguma ko fee wax ko fi waxee dafa indi conflicts you know
why am fu mu nekk nii ben tey is a possibility lu os di wax nii sax because ID card ñu dem joxe si biti loolu dafa xaw a tey xel de
na ñooñu del no consider gars yi den génne any paper regarding
waaye foog ba ne
nga ne lañ génne lan os
Narandaga ñooñu dañ la no consider because this no then government paper or any publication relating to that. No, ñun job voting ID card maybe they will be eligible to vote.
No, I'm not so ID card if for example when it's time for registration. Sa ID card bi mun na la allow pour nga am voters card.
Wow.
Why the issue more if they allow people in Gabon to vote, so what is stopping them from allowing people in the UK to vote? Because the moment ballots again in Gambia, I think that it should be uniform across the board.
Yeah, but who knows whether they are trying to
New Gambia?
Wow, exactly.
Wow, so guy in Gambia, and the story would be different because I know that Barra have enough resources to move transport. You get and other countries.
Bro, I live on the ground and Mauritania. Let me tell you, so election jote hotels in neka between Fajar be watna dañoo fees. Ask yourself ndax ku dëkk Banjul dina soxla fanaani ci hotel pour eewu vote. Ku dëkk Fajara dina bëgg a dëkk ci hotel eewu vote. It means these are people who are brought in to vote. Yow jaralul la ko gis nga Gambia su election jote pajas moo dee gën a jar sponge because then they create sort of camps where people come in groups, vote and leave. It's happening. Danga gis day after election truck di ep ay mat la bem fees because dañ leen indi woon utal leen fu ñëw stay.
It begs the question, the credibility of data when people do election analysis. Because we are good, Magnon did not in life. I was driving home. Madega couldn't analyze the numbers between 2021 and then the subsequent elections, which is the mayoral. 500,000 did not vote. But again, if a lot of people are being transported, put new vote, new deal, it means that those people they are only participating in one elections. So the other elections, at least we will the factual data.
Bro, sorry, they basically they have more. they look at the constituents. You said areas Inga Hamne is not a stronghold. They flood it with non-nationals to vote, and ñu dañoo equalize margin before opposition warona am. So tay so factor yene suma mune in the 80,000 muna ame ci Casamance be easily 35,000. Lolu easy na. Then ga them towards the Willingara and moy bori basse Tambacounda bi nga am fa benen 15,000 yangi ñata 45 no 50 legi. So mune am I need from the Salum end towards Kaula Nyomi Badibu benen 5-10,000 yangi 60. So Gabon ak yoyu do indi lu bari boss dañoo joge bor yoyu ñew fi. So all you need is to boss people in and boss them out. So it's not ne Gabon and deka yoyu ñoy amé huge numbers ñoy mutali. At the end of the day, we need to ask ourselves, why is government so adamant on giving people ID cards there? Number one, an ID card is not an international document. It's a document bohamne, it's valid more so in country than outside. So I'm an ID card in Gambia and I do a plane siena deka. Nangu, even though it's ECOWAS, why tolo gun for hamne harmonize nenko, ga hamne deka yep accept nen suñ card as is. So Senegal renga de mun romba ID card in and out without problem. Why the farther you go, they want to see a passport. So now ask yourself, why is government issuing an ID card? It makes it easy for you to get a document. We have two problems here. Registration be. Suндore di joxe. IEC being responsible for people to have cards. What if, it's a what if. What if government has the same printing machines to give cards and have access to the same database where they can add? And what if IEC choose to be complicit and they're not raising an alarm? Because there has been complaint, registrations were happening after the registration period. Registrations were happening at night. Liyep identifying coffee. But Gambians didn't want to make it an issue because of the party that raised the issue. When UDP wanted to take this matter to court, a lot of Gambians didn't support them. But Sunhaila collectively, it wasn't a UDP fight, it was a UDP-led fight. But what was happening impacts every Gambian. It was electoral misconduct and electoral irregularity. But because people had a way they were looking at UDP, they saw it as a UDP battle. It was a battle for the legitimacy and transparency of our election. And yep, then of support. But because Nijite Hebi, Nubari overwhelmingly and Nyonyom, Nugise Kone Hehi Nyonyula. And Mota case Bobo Munuta, sorry, imaginal. Fanti Aduna Binga, am Lubon, Gayobuko court. Court Binela, Wahumane Linga in the Amutluchi Bonde, why process Binga Jarpur in the Kodafata Dumako Muna Hall. And the whole of Gambia, nyep contancy. So it wasn't UDP didn't have a case. But the Supreme Court said, process bin jar pour ñu hear case bi ñom duñ ko mëna hear. So it means substantively it was declined on form, not substance. And ñu can't si ñun bayuñ xel ne liñ dégëral nguuri Adama Barrow through the Justice Department ñu squash lolu demut through the proper channels pour ñu déglu ko. Justice wasn't served and tey ñu ngi bëgg election ci fair. So don't definitely lolu dinañ gëna mëna am fu ñoo scrutinize lifin IEC, but no. Mota legi, I think we need to have a broader perspective of what is equitable. Ñepp ngeen nañ dem election. Is the playing field level? Can we guarantee a fair and free and fair election? So a lot of people are talking about candidates. The most important thing is process. If not, we are validating Barrow by participating in a process, Bohamne, it's already skewed towards him.
So, considering those circumstances, Nyang, what would you consider as the alternative?
Wow.
But considering those circumstances, in your personal opinion, lan nga foog ne mooy war a nekk the alternative? Because
man lima a united opposition doesn't mean a coalition or anything there. Opposition bi dañ waroon a taxaw ne duñ dem election suñ amut a new voter registration because fu mu nekk imaginal ñi nga xam ne rëcca nañ net bi from the last time biñ amee card léegi ku réeral card ak ku mosuta am card moom la ñoo dugal ci rôle bi. Did we sanitize the role from the last election? No. So we have a duty collectively as people who want to uproot Barrow to ensure the system is free and fair. Free and fair mooy ñiñ jox carte pour ñu vote ñun ñu certify ne ñi war nañoo vote waaye ñëpp fu nekk ñu ngi toppa seen campagne te toppuñ process bi ñoo jaar pour make sure election bi fair na. Loolu is the most important thing.
Seetaan nga the last IEC and the party.
Gis naa ESA waaye problem bi it wasn't ESA, it's a united voice. United voice in the sense that opposition be through their inter-party committee waroon nañoo am a united voice ne Gambia is ready for election. Te kay ma wax la election jot Barrow amut election. There is a constitutional crisis. Number one, moom kenn du dem election. So that will force government. I think the opposition definitely they have so much power, but because of this unity, mënuñoo gis loolu. Tey su opposition bi taxawoon ne election duñ ko dem suñ amut rôle bu ees. Then su rôle bi di am ñu scrutinize kan mooy am carte bu ees. I can bet you will not even have 800,000 registered voters. Possible. You cannot have a population of 2.3 million. 65% neka under the age of 35. Nga am a voter roll of 1 million Gambians when it is voluntary, it's not mandatory. Yow la neex nga register. Ñepp register wuñ. So our electoral roll is bloated. Number one, debt génne wuñ leen ci ñi dee. Number two, am nañu ko waruta am Gambians lañ why they are underage. Number three, foreigners yi ñu ko am. So sanitize li yëpp. You cannot have a voter roll of 750, maximum 800,000, and that is with a compliance rate of over 85%. Election Dubai force, so daf la neex nga ut. We can safely say that no more than 70% of eligible voters get a voter's card. Xoolee ko ci ID card bi. Ñaata Gambians ñoo am ID card nit ñi dañ war di laaj seen bopp yéena total Gambians yi am ID card is less than half of the adult population te ID card moo gën a important because soo ko amul doo am sa Wave doo am sa Western Union doo am yeneen yi. So ask yourself, why is the compliance rate on voters card so high and the compliance rate on ID card is so low?
So anyway, Lulu Nyang, I'm not certain information, but I am limited to what I can share in the public. But it is a concern, and since we've raised that in the discussion, I'm not with the other parties to see now what would be their qualitative position in terms of addressing this particular matter. It is a concern. Hopefully they will be in line and collectively address this issue together.
Bayulo helne in the Gambia, so election pass la nit ñi dey complain about process rather than before the election. Bayulo hel lolu. Like after election bi ñu ne election bi fair out. They should have known damn well ne election bi mënuta fair because environment bi ak process bi is not level. But no, everybody wants to play, everybody wants to be part of. So we are worried more about participating than participating in an equitable process. So man might take more. You cannot have an election without auditing the voter roll. And no one has audited the voter roll in the Gambia for the past God knows how many years. Nguur gi jox la copy ne lii mooy voter roll bi seet ko. That's not auditing. Audit mooy ñu jëm tour by tour seet paper yi ko back. Loolu mooy audit, but just jox ma roll bi a copy of it.
So, Nyang, realistically, I think that one of the biggest obstacles that we face as an opposition, my limited resources in conducting those auditing exercises.
But it's not the opposition that's conducting the exercise, it's the state. state bi mooy conduct election ñun participants lañ political parties yi participant lañ so political parties yi ñoo war a wax nguur gi ne li nga bugg a tega mu tudda election balañ cee duga dañ bugg a lii leer nguur gi génnee xaalis if election is a priority the government will do the right thing man my take is we're giving this government too much slack and they are getting away with it.
Nanga problem si fundore more the build up before if it need the agency registration center. So the process an individual would have to go through to get a national identity card. Well, the process be more than more attestation, which are all legally validated and need to a registrar card. More mean even some agents at the registration center, they are very limited as to how many people they can interfere in their process. So process will have so many steps that are involved in it. And I think that we actually need to come up with a system maybe similar to Senegal or other systems whereby it's a registration or a voter's card is tied to your identity card. But all these things are concerns that you are having and we have noted them and we've started communicating with other parties to see how they feel about this particular situation. Again, I do agree that the numbers do not sound realistically, but we've done some investigation in the provinces, especially within the Eliasa constituency, because we've gone through the 2021 voter registration list. Even though they are border towns, but I guess on the other side of the border, see voter registration list, including the alcalos and the I can remember in 2017 when we wanted to give Molaman Aibojang, the UDP candidate, the chairmanship in North Bank region, and that was the only time UDP ever the same thing throughout the rest of the country. So these are some of the things we are aware of it. All the parties are aware of it. But right now, I think one of the biggest things more the logistics, the resources, and having the right people know how many they will be able to maybe draft the legal documents to start challenging the government and go through the right process.
Why be bro needulo legal document de halis lañ soxla mooy ne fii if they started November, let's say November, then March, April, you can come with a comprehensive role. Then get the supplementary registration latest July, August, then get take ko ku amuton du amat. The problem here is opposition send interest is more to be part of an election rather than to be part of a free and fair election. And at the end of the election, everybody complain li mo wrong. Lu leen fa dal rek daf leen mooy I'm not being rude or disrespectful, but dañ war a xam ne environment bi fairwut ak ñoom it's skewed to the benefit of the incumbent, whether it's GRTS, whether it's government vehicles. Opposition dañu waroon a taxaw joxe seen 10-point plan ne election lii moo ko fee war a mun a am loo let's go and tick the box one by one bañ mut dem ngeen ñëw foo ñu oo ñu tega ko ak yow waaye kañ tega election man ma ne la dama bokka te ruusi gis naa ne fairwut and I still want to play. This has been ongoing 2021, 2017. People are more worried about being part of an election than being part of a credible electoral process.
Well, young man, I think that it's far much more complex than that. I would agree on one point, the lack of unity among the opposition in fighting causes it is towards their own benefit. But again, an opposition is very much fragmented with different interest groups leading them. So kuchine karek mante luma wara jaral pour mane I will put my resources into fighting this actual cause. Munna ko benya jaral kenen. So in order to fight this, we need that unified front. And I think that the right approach, when you start to communicate within ourselves, send position papers to all the parties, and this is our observation, and this is how we see it. So you allow them to respond to whatever you probably set up an inter-party committee within this opposition.
Yeah, I quite agree. Why when it comes to resources, nguur gi moko fay du joge ci posi ken because nguur gi moo am mandate to take a free and fair election. But participants yi ñoom tamit dañ war a ne lii mooy suñ observation ne election mënut a fair. So let's remedy that situation before we call an election. And to be honest, this country, we could have held Barrow hostage. Moine. So deful lim wara def. Constitutional crisis moy am. Su participate bo hene environment be fair out. Ñu jox leen point siñ buga ñu address ko. Election do am. So election amut Barrow do am legitimacy. But people don't know that. I mean, just because you're an incumbent doesn't mean you have power. We can make you illegitimate by non-performer, non-involvement. And lolu bahut ci Barrow, bahut ci deka bi. So they will be under pressure to make sure they play ball. But ñun, we don't mind playing ball under a circumstance and environment that we know is a fail scenario already. Dañ ci dugat dem fail before ñu dugat ci.
But I think that this year would be different, considering the circumstances surrounding 2021 and the participants that were involved in it. Gambia right now, maybe feel is more diversified, and a lot of people coming into the picture, probably they have this thing in mind. So hopefully now we can use the collective action approach to tackle this issue.
I agree with you. That is on the participation side. Man, what I'm talking about is on the process side. Participation things have changed. Why do you know those people that were registered in 2021, their cards are still valid? And you cannot stop them when they come to the polls.
It is.
So we need to sanitize that role. We should all say it's a suspect. That's the point every opposition party should start. The electoral roll is a suspect. And if we agree on that, the next step is what are we going to do? If we agree on what are we going to do, it means we're going to audit it. If we're to audit it, who is going to pay for it? The state. No more auto election. You do participate. Why the for affair?
I do agree, and ñu lolu moy sun position because ñu don har IEC pour gaay ñu auto then ñom ñu mun ñoo explain exactly what their intentions are in terms of the voter roll. I believe that we were not the only one in that meeting, but again, our position was made known. As APP, so yeah, we do advocate for new fresh voter registration rule. Then I'm gonna safeguard all these transparency measures. But again, that's the starting point, and we have not only stopped at that, because I've already said that we've opened lines of communications to make sure that we have written to other parties to say that these are our worries at this particular time. So, what says you?
I hope so, because man lima def dama jël last census report bi ma use the demographic breakdown, the clusters of the demography. Ma jël starting at 18 ban percentage population bila. I even give it a 60% ne. No, as of last 70% ne dinañ register. Ma jël next bracket bi 70. You cannot have a voter roll bo xamne agana 900 at even 70% compliance. Now you have a voter roll of over 1 million. Something is wrong somewhere. It's either underage and non-nationals being added to the normal voter roll. Lolu dafa skew election bi, and lolu mota so hole dekabi. Barrow is leading the country, but he is not governing the country because amul legitimacy. Legitimacy moy ñi am vested interest ci running of this country. I'm gonna dina vote ci election. Why? They really don't care about outcome because duñu wa fi faale wuñ. So lolu mota, there are people they have voted for Barrow, but they're indifferent to what's going to happen. But man mayo, we care because we are vested stakeholders, primary stakeholders for that reason. So lolu ta manela voter roll Gambia bi man, I can safely tell you it should be around 790, 825 maximum. But a voter roll of 1 million in a population of 2.3, something is fundamentally wrong. Ana mageti, ana ñi tuki, ana ñi de.
Right, on the political side, Nyang, I think that we have a case study in our hand. It becomes very ineffective for any political party police the registration centers because it can have a negative connotation, but we backfire towards you.
And security, sir.
Exactly. So we've seen that in 2021, and then the accusations that were levied against UDP. So these are all things that we have to carefully think about. Mota, I think that our best approach collectively, more you address this issue before you even them to the registration center.
Thank you so much. Lolula, agree.
The biggest question for me, Moy, how willing other parties are, putting them into this? Are they willing to come up with the boycott strategy?
It's their interest.
Okay, look, we are not going to participate unless we get a fresh voter registration, or are they willing to say, okay, perception be out there, Moine, Barrow is not very popular, Munenko underestimate, them into this election, and with blind faith.
I quite agree with you. Why the prudent thing to do is not look at Barrow's popularity or lack thereof, but look at the electoral process. Is it conducive for me based on Nima Dem Wahal, Nudegama, Ugama vote? Will those people's vote be suppressed? What do I mean by that? So 10 Gambian, credible Gambians voted. 5 non-Gambians vote. You are suppressing the will and the vote of the bona fide Gambian. And that's what the process is doing today. They're diluting our concerted voices.
One key point, you consider more the power of ratio. Gambia right now, I think almost 20-something registered party. So 10 of which are in line with Barrow. Them joining coalition with Barrow. So the power of ratio would come into play, Fini. For instance, if APP Sobeya, UDP, PDOIS, and GDC decided to challenge the voter roll when they no boycott elections. So that is 4 out of the 20-something registered parties. So again, like Barrow being Barrow or the government being government, look, if it was that bad, why are all these other parties not querying it?
Mm-hmm. That's true. You're quite right, and I agree. Well, so definitely, I think it was a fruitful interaction, and we need to think along those lines a little bit more. Man, I am a disruptor, number one, and number two, my way of thinking is, if something is wrong, it needs to be disrupted. And our electoral process needs disruption. Forget even about electoral laws, just the process alone.
Yeah, no, it is something we have as policymakers. But again, it's a very complex issue. And Gambia political field is so much diversified at this point.
Consensus, Amut.
Wow, I'm a vested interest in a particular thing. So Lima one of the biggest challenges you have in face.
Because man Lima ragal moy ñu dem ci election bi. Yen so nit ñi duñ dé déklu Baro. Mu ngi wax this time sax lim leena doré. It means that amna ay guarantees ñom xam nañ liñ def. So you are playing with someone. Kokong leena won nim leena doré. Lima leen doré won last time bari bi la leena gëna dor. He is sitting on something that you guys are not privy to. And ñooñu duñ jine duñ doma duñ malaika ay ordinary nit lañ, but they're invincible because they are not in our surroundings, but come election they will be present in our surroundings.
Again, politics of perception is very much important in Gambia, and Gambia is very, very integrated at the moment in terms of integrating those that have come within our region. So the perception and the narrative that the government would push more. If Sobeya decides to say, look, we are going to boycott this election without having enough backings from the other opposition parties, then Sobeya would automatically be labeled as a xenophobic party, an anti-immigrant party.
Yeah, it happened to UDP in 2021.
Exactly. So I guess again, we need to understand Gambia and what it means to be Gambian, especially within the social level. It has changed a lot. Gambians, we are migratory. To soon migrate, we establish ourselves, then they use some families here, and then we leave. So a lot of people have replaced those that have migrated. So
yeah, but it's not legal though. It's not legal in the sense. Sorry to interrupt you. It's not legal because citizenship, I'm a pathway. And most of the people living here, they are not going through the pathway to citizenship. So therefore, their documents are not legitimate.
Well, it serves the best interest of the incumbent. Because again, they are playing a two-tier system. Legi man elections dafa jot. I am in manmaneka presidency. I make having access to the voters card so much easier for you. Ma jox la ko. Then after nga am voters card bi nga votal ma. Man parrainage nga dem Banjul
ID card sax doo ko am after. I know a lot of people.
Foofu lay ñëw. Nga dem Banjul o nga dem Soma nga fekk fa Gambian Mandinka bi mi ngi si counter bi o Gambian Olof bi o Gambian Pol bi nga ñëw bi ne fan la sa papa jógee fan la sa yaay jógee do you have this document ngeen a amuloo su dee kooku soose la ngeen a ok ñii dañ yaaga bañ nit ñi bëggun gan so lii tax ñu ayama voters card. And again, we look at the demographic of those that goes to services in the Gambia and feel that these social tensions and it's playing in the favor of the government. Because again, like,
absolutely,
ñan ñoo dee gina ñëw suñ dëkk bi Olof yu jógee Sénégal ak Pël yu jógee Guinée. And again, if you give them voters card, gars yi dem ci immigration counter bi ñu fekk fa Olof yi Banjulien bi o Olof yi Gambien bi o Soose Gambien bi mën la amuloo the right documents, then ngeen okay kii nii laaka bi nii la moo laaka moo tax mu ayama voters card bi. So these are some of the social complex issues yoo xam ne ni we are as an opposition we are trying to find solutions.
You're treading carefully.
Exactly.
I know. Well, keep it up. You guys are doing a good job. And man, I'm just an observer of the environment. And periodically, I will speak my mind based on how I see the environment. And my only thing is I can only raise an alarm because I am not a primary stakeholder in the process. But I can say I'm an observer of the process. And what I see, Sunchi Jogut, dañoo endorse Barrow in the sense ne dañoo bokk ci fo boo xam ne moom moo create rules yi ñu legitimiser ko ba pare suñ paree ñun ñëpp ñu complainaat ne jaarut yoon te foofu lañ waroon a dooree jaarut yoon.
But it is good that we bring in these discussions because usually sometimes, unless someone raises this topic, I think that it will sound like we've taken a so you talk on TikTok and start engaging them into this. But again, I think that these are one of the pluses of TikTok. Gambians are able to deal with complex issues and try to explain it so that they understand that. Usually we are all fixated on coalition, but again, like hardly do we discuss about the process that's leading to elections.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jang. Omi manawala nyo ba madam mbigiji yaga na fi te in the presidency. Mom dam amna ay mbokk amna ci village bu njogé. Mom mi nga xalaat ne man tay ma nekk di director of NAWEC o ma nekk di director of this small institution. Ñi su day winé suma place bi ni keneen daf ko jël. So koku nonu nu baro di liggéey pour tok momi non la mo démé ci goxam pour liggéey pour togaat.
Ba os
wa
ba os ba bi nga wax non electoral reform sini this campaign period and the election processes 24 days for campaign for oppositions it's not our advantage li from day one dama ko yaga dama every single day dama ko tabaxal sun programme li wa tax pour guarantee a free and fair election ñu nañ ko bay ku nekk dem now it should have been a matter of all oppositions coming out in the Gambia every 3 or 2 months hitting hard on these electoral reforms. Why do we have to do nominations? Why do we have to pay 1 million? Why do we have to have 24 days of campaign? Why do we have 11 days of nominations? A prime example was CA Bunden disqualified. By the time they go to court and come back, the 11 days have elapsed. The 24 days have elapsed. Li fek dafuñ ko ku fa tok yaay win. Ñun nak sun position ci ku nekk nga jël chance ne ba ñum nap napé at Barrow. And this where li nga wax ni this where the movements are coming into play. Because ñom ñu ngay yaakaar ne political party amuñ advantage ñun nañ fa toog dégg ngeen even candidate bu ñëw toog fii di ko wax may sax waxoon na ko fi ne for so long the politicians have messed up the country te di wol bi yëpp sax The only person who strive in terms of national development are these socialist people or these activisms. But politics from the rec, if there is nothing to guide or to guarantee a free and fair process rec, ki talk te ame kaddu gi rek at ame posam face at ame lengay koko mu di win ba faw te li mo tek Jawara fofu nonu mo tek yaaje fofu nonu. Now why didn't we learn from Jawara? Minister of Interior time ñom tef do vote, Chief Alcalde by vote on his behalf. Huh? Kabala Sendika do vote. Sanko Sendika do vote. Alcalde by vote. Who announced elections? The Interior Minister. Yeah, they knew what IEC at least one step above. Why I'm gonna did it? Mafa Kone, small post. But you know the same thing right now. Still now we want to sit down and say here now, wow, the government for develop. How can we guarantee development when there is no free and fair democratic process in how we govern, how we change government, and how people are being represented? This should be the topic of every day. Correct man, worst case scenario. Ki talk IEC, but ben opposition leader them contest election. Then you boycott election. Let Gambia do one, either burn or shine. This is the only option. Because linga one see bro ni mungeme ay dollars if ngo jele ana oil Gambia kanako wahati. Where can Gambia generate a president that will give dollars at this point of time? So pass a law hamne is big billions going in and out in exchange for something. Moi Chinese dealing si, EU dealing si, at oil dealing in Senegal. You know? So you connect a board state house. Member of Parliament see you go help why position be line agree one so you got the phone. You Ahmad Ba. Henry governments maybe, my party maybe, Dr. Asautre maybe, Lawyer Dabo maybe, Halifa Saleh maybe in Parliament. You can take the SFR campaign so do merisa. Take so do gain sa.
Anga Babel, I'm not gonna surprise it more. Sometimes, Nitki, Enga, politicians, I am very much disappointed with our parliament. I was applauding them, Bugai tone down the 2024 draft. For the simple fact, man, I believe it is unfair to the
Gambian people. Disappointed, Joko.
No, parliament members.
Joko. That's specified.
So, when they Bugai turned down the 2024 draft, I was really applauding them for doing that. For the simple fact, and I believe, Baro Akalal Buyahu, there should be accountability. Gambia cannot turn a new leaf, new buy Baro Mudem talk to Lumjelip. And then I became very surprised 3 weeks after Bu elect IEC bill being in New because they choose self-preservation instead of the national interest. They yangi democracy from the grassroots. Parliamentary and talk in parliament. Man, at least suma take home every month. Aksuma yenen sitting allowance. I am taking home nothing less than 150 or 200,000 a month. So President be ahead ne. Pour run a parliamentary seat position. Nomination fee is 150. Ñom ñu ngi xalaat ne man de suma constituency foguma ne nit nekk na fa ko am xaalis pour run 100 pour take 150,000 am lu mu campagne. So they choose self-preservation across the parties. Na parties yu fa nekk yépp da nga dégg kenn ku coow bil boobu noonu. They pass it simply because ñu ngi xalaat ne next election bi dafa nekk an easy ride to me.
Wow.
If the Mangsi opposition be, then I know that I am only contesting against Barrow or whoever is coming in. So they Barrow Momoto that. And this tells you the nature of politicians that we have in Gambia. And I call out some of them, you know, how many maybe talking relationship, you know, boy, be nakalam for them, Lana Tangen pass bill be, and some of them gave you lame excuse. No man buguma ko na pass, why nip then ko buga pass, so even some voted no, say it wouldn't have any effect. So this is the reality that we are faced with right now. Gambia,
alone.
2021, the choices were limited. Either Nadam Sanil GDC, SFR, Nadam Sanil Barrow, or Halifa, or Honorable Dabo. Well, right now, our choices are so much diversified. Golden Yona, yeneen parti ñu ngi ñëw yeneen parti Dr. Gadji go ñëw na Talib Bensouda ñëw na keneen ñëw na so the opposition tey ak nun ko munti ka waxee sun votes have been spread thin because kuy saanil Barrow kooku mee comme na may nam ne dafa dem saanil Barrow so ñu ni neen nag the more spread we are the thinner each one of us our votes is so pour ñu toog fii nii war a am that fantasy di wax ne waaw I can do it alone wala no kii na taxaw without thinking about unity bro yaa xaalis la rek da nga dem campagne ba pare Barrow ñëw tàppa ñu so how do we address the problem of ku nekk maa bugg a nekk president that should be the actual discussion right now naka nga méegee soo ne ñeneen ñi ñëpp dinañ gis ne ok lii tam su ma ko jàppee njëriñ mu ngi si su dee Gambia rek moo tax ma jóg pour ma develop Gambia mun naa développer Gambia because this is the role that I am going to play in governance so then nga wàññi the stress load on the incumbent ak kanay war a nekk president then Talib su dee Gambia rek moo tax mu bugg a ñëw reform youth yooyu noonu probably mun naa ñëw join coalition ne ok man léegi bàyyi leen ma these lines of ministries bàyyi leen ma ministry of basic education bàyyi leen ma youth and sports bàyyi leen ma nangam then na create youth employment nangam ñu boole ko ci cluster bi Halifa su dee the upliftment of rural Gambia pharmacy national wealth preservation mooy the doctrine of PDOIS let Halifa control agriculture, land resources, then at least Gambia would start taking form. But for the together, they will be able to build the strong institutions that we lack. Gambia they among strong institutions. But Barrow is not doing very well. But Barrow is a very shabby politician. And people then could underestimate all the time. The reason why Barrow is not prosecuting anyone for corruption because Barrow xam na ne kuy sàccee ci moom yaa ngi dem tam di ko jox sa nit ñi just to make sure ne yow nga yaaga nekk ci place boobu noonu it's a political score. Gambia daj we had the 2010 leen njëkk pass the anti-corruption.
It's at the crossroad. Barrow sàcca dafa dara ñu toog fii muy ko génne
no, the funny thing mooy 2010 lan pass the anti-corruption ñu ngi ko jëlee from UNGA 2023 ñu ratify bill bi is the proper definition of what bribery constitutes because loolu was lacking ñu introduce the bribery bill ñu introduce the whistleblower protection act then shortly after 2023 new anti-corruption agency bu Gambia even though they do not have a functioning agency but SIA and police they oversee the prosecution and the Ministry of Justice. Guy prosecute Dr. Banja. This was the only anti-corruption cases where they used that bill to prosecute it, constitute as a gift from the Chinese fisherman. And culturally, gift it's part of our social fabric. That was their line of defense. So Lee, it becomes something very interested in the anti-corruption war. Because new researchers, we've always debated in the global south, where do we draw the line between what constitutes as a gift and what constitutes as corruption? We understand the social norms, including attire, nangam, and it has different contexts. General attire, we don't consider that as a bribe. Policeman be stop lang again 100 tek ko ci loxom ne ko attire ko do henang. Do we also consider that as a bribe? So these are all very interesting research topic. Why Dr. Banja buñ ko prosecute ñu tej ko. What did the president do? 3 months mo pardon ko. Mu bay ko mu dem? Again, do you think Dr. Banja and the people that have been benefiting from the monies that Dr. Banja have had, those people, they are going to vote against Barrow?
No, but I don't know similar court case could take the same precedence. Wow, this was a wrong law.
Well, Jena, so legally issue been up legi da nga gis ne ñu nekk ci ministers yëpp directors yi nangam Gambia ñun ñëpp we a close knit society. Te ko ñam su fa nekkee maybe ku am ngente mu ñëw mu sponsor la. Nga struggle school fees mu ñëw mu sponsor la nangam and it even gets worse in the rural communities because in the rural communities so they nit dafa jóge mu nekk a minister dëkk boobu noonu yëpp they don't want to vote against because then they xam ne suñ compté ballot bi dinañ wax ne ñaani ja they voted for UDP or APP suba ya so they will feel ne delloo wuñ njukkal Siri Njie nga dem si beneen dëkk this is why the money that is being looted ñoom ñu dee jël xaalis bi di ko dem di ko tasaare So these are all political dynamics in Gambia. We have to concentrate on how do we make sure this strong opponent, he is not strong, he is strong. Bunne kadi jump wante right now ni nakale no def ba gene ko Gambia yeb amu ci Banjul ak Serekunda ak Brikama.
Leader Sad, we borough of all people today become an immediate threat to Gambia's democracy. You know, and ñun ñep xam nañ what is going on. Ñu ko gis right now, but mënuñ ko def dara. Mu ngi def dafi matay. Man li mo gina sad ci affaire ci right now. And these are things what triggers social unrest in a country. Mu ngi def lu bon, loi mënu ko té. Ñu doxal wa mënuñ ko té. ñu talk fii on social media asun political party naan waaw mënuñ koo génne kaay toog nekk benn dafa am doole waaw boobu dafa start to wax mu ngi ko dégg mu ngi ree ku support MPP mu ngi ko dégg mu ngi ree ñu toog fii
loolu mooy reality di taos what do you want us to do
waaye is loolu nag dafa miti si xol laa wax dafa miti but of all people from nowhere
reality de
li moo tax doomi réew su attaque fii nii ñoom Halifa Sallah ak ñoom gars yëpp coalition bi boy da nga mer ba nga xam ne you will say things nga xam ne sax yow sax waruloo ko wax oo yaa
I miss you so much
fekk yaa ngi mer xam nga so yu mel noonu boy li yëpp kan moo ñu ko indil why was these things not corrected in 2016 that was the purpose of this change then more trust again pour bokk ci coalition again ak ñi nga xam ne ñoo toogoon 2016 ba tey baro ñëw 419 baro of all people boy xoolal man kama kuna moto yi seey na ci moo dawal each of them could have how can a president donate one pickup to a hospital what can a hospital do with one pickup is he the one giving it
ñu do la leen ci Trump bi
you know and it is the government that is giving it or baro moo ko joxe that is bribery. Nowhere in the world where a president will get a pick up to hospital. Mumoko me ndagan. Now, let me tell you, now, come to Osway, they don't know Jukal. Yeah. Baro ku fak ne liga youth. Mu ngi def li nga xamne they are muloko guinea out of national development. Dika yo xamne mus ñu am courant 30 years ñu amé courant. Fofu mun lo fa taxaw ne baro liggéey duñ la gëm. Mota ñi taxaw coalition ak ñi go round to campaign around the whole Gambia. They need to change the wordings. We need to show this Gambia what exactly is happening and what they could have got. And lu ñu askan bi. Waaye ñun fu nekk nii ku nekk mu ngi taxaw bu ko form talib li mu amee doole nii mun naa dem la nga musi keena. Loolu yemee doole. Li mu la wan la ku ci nekk am nga mbooloo am nga ku la buga. Waaye léegi lu tax yéen ñi nga xam ne yéen la Gambia yaakaar yéen la Gambia buga mun leen nekk benn ngeen nekk benn nit. Tey jii xoolal démba interview Kémo bi tey jii yang potu su break woon su tawi break away at Kémo taxaw fom partem mu amat am ay nitaat so it's like you know we are breaking from 10 8 6 5 4 but the breakaway is too much in the Gambia so these politicians ñi kenn bëggul Gambia mu tax baro def li moo def ñëppay coow because fekkee ne Kémo jang moo toog nekk UDP nekk dia youth president mu toog tey di xas UDP ne baaxu dafa nii moo tax ma génn foofu noonu waa Gambia koy gomaati kan nga gomaati nga nekk UDP 30 years tey nga génn tey nga toog di wala UDP baaxut amut lii talib ma ko am talib bi ñu mbaamal naan 30,000 youths I have sign up Gambia ku nekk a bëgg internet dugal téléphone bi are they voting will they vote li sa fi dee wax you see lan la gaay ñaka ci nguru yaay jame tell me you see lan la gaay ñaka against nguru yaay jame what did it benefit us xana na ñu jox youth ministers Fatim Badji balo ñu wajel bakay Badji youth minister nik halal la this is how they fool us the bar is so low in the Gambia dañ ko jaay Sénégal dañ ko jaay Sénégal
bana ñati wax bo naka la ñoo jëlé a Gambia a whole Gambia with airport and ports nga wax ñu jaay ko Sénégal
ban airport
Banjul International Airport
okay
waaw yow
Abana man deal na pare man
Abel, my brother Paos. This is little man, I'm independent. I don't go in politics anymore. I am good. I want my sanity. I want to stay young. I want to stay beautiful. So I don't have time for the Gambia. Me, I'm independent. Let me enjoy myself. Let me take care of myself. Take care of the people that I'm helping.
There are a lot of movements in Gambia, including Nyam Kabahio, Nyam Paste, Fagna Keba Mari Bojang. So movements are very big in Gambia. If Dabo says he opened coalition talks with political parties and movements, I don't think that it necessarily means Talib. Well, I'm not referred to Talib. Again, politics, but there are no permanent enemies and there are no permanent friends. Man, I believe Talib has been in the UDP for a number of years now. They are definitely twice. Shouldn't Talib do any reform? The position they have on move on, and the UDP, we could have seen those reforms in the UDP. But I want to believe in the UDP as an institution. They are very democratic and they are also very uplifting because well, they are not uplifting or they are not inclusive. Talib should not be included because they have given Talib all the opportunities that we endorse today. You know, for the coordinate, government at not. This is what we wala da fi wala hamna ne ta ñun ñu gëm ne fi ni warna mëna nekk so génné sam pasandinda wax ne you right now ni you want to bring something else borom xel yëpp di leen laaj la tax wonu lo ñu won li time boo ko nekkee so what are the limitations that I do not know but I want to believe that Dabo was just making a statement referring to everyone.
So also, I want to ask you a question because I'm just asking. Langa gis nga fogne mo neka this problem that's eluding in the Gambia. Ak lan mo tax ñun ñu neka fi neka and 2026 is just knocking on the door. And there is not many plans for anything. Everybody, every day you are on TikTok. Sunset to sundown, dawn to sunset. And I don't see anything law hamne makes me say that Harama continue rather than just Sona. And also, it's like they all want manpower. They don't want to even hear woman voice. So why do we try to make ourselves tired of coming in a platform where they don't see you as contributing or doing anything? So yo langa fogne mom la Gambia si lo leng neka. Where is our future and how can Gambia prosper? Because nyung mayone ndo nyungin natal magis na ko sinta why I'm not kumayone tam Gambia, the capital itself. We are here talking. So Wache Bir Banjul, the family is not the capital of Gambia. Water is tying everywhere. So what is it? What are we doing and what do we need to do for this country to be better? And are we supposed to listen or everybody who have an idea or who your lane is strong, you stand in your lane, these people stand on their lane, these people stand on their lane, then you guys all come together and work together. What is it? I don't understand it. Ana Os?
Well, I'm going to be what already more the political aspect of it. In terms of development now. But but in terms of development in Gambia, the problem was then I'm a state boy I'm a little bit on a cultural code according to your size.
Yes.
Right now. So we have a broke boy with a Gucci belt. So Sun state below more depends so is unrealistic. So a lot of the revenues that is being generated in the Gambia, do they what to the Gambian people or do they what in terms of development? It goes towards the services or paying for the services that are supposed to render those development. The Gambia, lumo yahachi essence, ag lumo yahachi fuel, ag moto was enough to make sure that ñun suñ xalé yi dem school yépp. Kenn du lal basang tok wala Watson Gambia du nekk di def GoFundMe di defal school si borehole. Because man understand the logic ne nga am a government institution Gambia yaatu digante Banjul la Brikama I think is 30 kilometers. Government is centralized into the greater Banjul area. Tey nga jël ministre jokko an official car jokko ñaari utility vehicle diko jox fuel coupons diko jox fuel impress nga some of these government officials in full occupancy are going to $500,000 or $1 million per year. Realistically, it is not very much useful. I don't know if it's moving. Gambia needs to innovate. Government no more spending. What now? No. Man, I do not understand. I'm matched 24, like almost 12 days, 12 hours a day. A lot of countries may move towards EV cars.
EV cars and solar panels, yeah.
Let them be parado. I 1 million plus, I something. EV car. Government institutions here right now subvention electric usage the solar panels so how many so when we in a park right so at the office working solar tax EV car then there's one the number of vehicles in terms of money lead them to repair maintenance lubricant and fuel government ministerial department staff boss maybe the director and then an official car. Then that alone is enough to save Gambia more than $400 million per year. So it's about having your priorities put in place, having the right people in the right office, no understanding. Gambia, they lead a country with very meager resources.
Another question is, I think we need check and balance, which we do not have, correct?
Not only check and balance. Hanga igisnga change tam dafa wara tombe leadership and at foresight and fortitude komuna is that changes. One of the biggest thing and one of the biggest problem in Gambia right now is housing. Because Gambia 80% of Gambians send earnings 70% of their earning goes towards their rent and their housing needs. Because no open your eye care. Then young civil service, and Gambia, but retire as a civil service. So sad today, and you want to live honestly. Munulo 20 by 20 in combo. So how do you cater for these people? Nakanga is what is social housing because right now with modern technology there are building materials is very cheap. They use renewable materials. We had someone the other time when you definitely a presentation on how to use buildings techniques they don't use more arts latest technology and them never propose look all I need more government land the manpower let them give me the military I can train them into building these things and every year we can build 10,000 homes next to nothing because all the resources will be sourced in Gambia. So these are some of the thinkings you have probably in opposition we want to bring this into governance or we want to bring this when Gambians decides to vote for us. But again, the economic reality moine will give 40-something billion in 12 months. Budget 12 months dafa gaaw nga xool 40-something billion so in terms of projects. Because you Adama Barrow nekk di samp yëpp these are all funded projects yoo xam ne ni dafa dem jëli di loan either Kuwait fund either OIC fund wala IMF or something like that. So Gambia revenue bu noo generate di ko jox budget yëpp mu ngi dem si servicing fay salary jënd moto jënd fuel servicing so servicing boobu noonu lan la nekk di deliver nit ñi loolu la nit ñi war a nekk di laajte.
So thank you very much, Oz. And also, dama litahon magina wachatam. Hamga nyun, I think we have dan ambe na problem bunga hamne. Nyun lunte si sun main bine. Lolu more correct, like lolu more correct. Guy then don't worry about the fees binga hamne so you see airport be mom ga de fail. But I know with what I know, kujena ticket. All those fees are included in the ticket. So Gambia link their charge is like a security fee. But the argument and Litahma dropped a bat and said, I don't want anything to do with Gambia was this thing. Because Danga in this man somewhere that the Mari side to know. Why nyom on their logical stuff, whatever they are saying, even if it's wrong, Lolumo were correct. So that was security fees that we are paying, and I don't know where all that is going. Why so buy a soldier ticket to travel to any country across the world, across the globe. Do Agassi airport when you pay this amount of money?
Well, hanga legi airport realistically what you have to consider more. airport, what is the operational cost every year? But what is the revenue generated every year? Now calculate the number of flights that are landing in the airport. Today, young staffs, electric bill, maintenance issues, no. Then one per estimate, Lolo is operational cost is $100 million a year. So you also tourism session open between October and April. Ngada flights am so in a year maybe flights is about 70 or 80 million dollars. So you a deficit of 20 million. How do you leverage that difference? When start the add unnecessary tax and levies on airports. While Gambia geographically from the number of airlines that are operating in Africa. This is where PP becomes important, public-private partnerships. Today, now when I travel, today, the Ethiopian airline, even in the UK, nga buga dem Gambia or Senegal, I'm flying the Ethiopian airline. They nga watch a bit Addis Ababa first before new transit. Nga jël Morocco, they nga watch a bit Morocco first before new transit. And some of these airlines have with expansion. Gambia is positioned in a place where a transit hub. You go to these airline companies, Canada, look, I have an airport. Munalajo airport, being expand, build a Africa transit hub. Then, EasyJet Mungaleno approach, because it's only 6 hours flight to Gambia. Munga approach other European airlines company, even African airlines company. It takes 9 hours to fly from London to Addis Ababa. Ngajilat another 9 hours to fly from Addis Ababa or something like that to Ngawachabir Dakar or Ngawachabir Mali or Ngawachabir Fenen. If you offer those people that expansion project, it's going to cost us less. Soon tickets and we can cater for the market for Guinea-Bissau.
And they can invest it, yeah? They can invest in it, yeah?
Well, Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, Guinea-Conakry, Togo, they can cater for those ones. So, Legi Gambia, the come Marrakesh, Nakalame, Naka Morocco, Nakalame, or Addis Ababa, Nakalame. And the airlines would consider that because they don't hold the amount of flight hours, the Vagina Water. Instead of Nitkuwaro them Sierra Leone, fly all the way to Addis Ababa, then from there to Sierra Leone. How about Europe, continental Europe, anywhere in Europe, 6 hours Gambia, land Gambia, and transit back to your own country. So these are all business opportunities you are handling. You need to have people that have foresight. On the plus side for the economic of the Gambia, you have the opportunity to expand the tourism scale because you know is the foreign currency. The more flights you have coming towards Gambia, probably the cheaper it is.
Thank you very much, Os. That's an eye opener. Thank you very much. And in Gambia, where do you see women in politics? Because Gambia, they don't think that women should have a voice in politics. I've studied that a lot. So where do we see ourselves?
Well, I think the women participation in Gambia, it has improved the last 20 years or so because of education. Manama believes in family dynamics revolves around the economics of the family. So empowerment usually starts from there. In the moment economics weaken, the family dynamics change. Things change drastically. So you say, the African is reduced to a housewife because of economic dynamics of the family. I'm the husband, it's working, mama is everything. Jabar women because of probably education level or level of engagement in terms of social economic. Then Kokulono naturally role and being renegates to looking after the house and bringing up the kids, upkeep of the kids. While in that transit towards the Atlantic, in the West. Even as a Gambian family unit type, Babel dafa ew mu dem liggéey jabaram dafa ew mu dem liggéey Babel su wàccee dafa toog xaar jabaram wàcce ñëw baaxal maalo
no
du toog xaar jabaram mu wàcce ñëw baaxal maalo Babel dafa wàcce mu ñëw mu baaxal maalo because Babel needs to eat. So the economic situation more naturally change the family dynamics. So the more women are engaged in meaningful employment, the more women are engaged in economic activities, then more family dynamics will be changing, and more eventually transcends to the national level. Why? It is important in Gambia, I wouldn't consider it a misogynistic state. Jigen renegades to being housewife, but culturally this perception is changing. because a lot of young women are going into school, or younger girls are going to school. They graduate, they am ligay. Why they so whole the economic situation in Gambia? Jobs is very competitive. Non competitive facing go, non competitive facing jigin. All the number of graduates that we have and the number of jobs that are available, again, they should be able to give you the answers. So again, they can only become much more influential and much more powerful in Gambia in terms of politics, economic activities, if they are involved in those things. And to get involved in those things, they have the economics to back it.
Okay. That's very good. That's very good to know. That's very good. That's very. But Osman, I'm not a man. Can do mamuna taxi bill kirby. Me man make a house. Why I cannot do it. I cannot, because man, all I know is I go to work, and also I empower the youth and the women that I see every day counseling. They have to go to work. But Linga Waneb, I really appreciate all your answers and stuff like that. But I'm still sitting on the edge myself, because I live with positiveness. I don't dwell on negativity, and I don't like to come to platforms and try to make somebody less of, or you try to make whatever I'm saying, you don't like it, and then you try to make it less of. And Gambia cannot even compete in the international table. Just look at the event, the summit that was in New York City. We were talking about it. We know the countries that we were there. Somebody was telling me Gambia was there, but we did not see Gambia. I didn't see any Gambians who was there participating or reach out to, like when Senegal come and they are there, they reach out to their people that are there, that's surrounding, and those people are building something or giving something that is helping their country and stuff. But we don't do that. But I don't know. I was saying, I don't know. Munumaham. Maybe they just dropped their bags and they went somewhere. But Gambia Lima Buganyu Hamoine, they have a lot of people who are outside the Gambia who wants to do great and wants to see the greatness of Gambia. But we are not welcome to a way or listen to a way. Then you just back up. And that's why I stay independent and I stay neutral. Yeah.
Why Adam, the issue money. So if everyone is thinking in the same line that you are, so you are getting to do them second. Because change, it's a gradual process. If women like you are involved in entrepreneurial skills, they are involved in uplifting other women, and you need to get involved. The politics, I want to remain independent. I don't want to get involved in politics. But actually, politics govern your daily life. Policies we take of business in Gambia, it revolves around politics. Lana Tanga pay tax bill, it revolves around politics. Lana Tanga the opportunity or access to this particular piece of land or resources in Gambia, it revolves around politics. And usually, if you want to change things, then you have to get involved in the process. Easy change. So, collective Gambia, the collective action, no more have a new dollar for women. But again, gradually, if you have more people like you participate in building your own networks, then we get that collective, pressure to see that social change would be there. Then one day, I'm a woman movement of 200 people or 300 people. And yen sel buga moy ngeen am access to water resources pour sen na koy wala ngeen am access to training center. So low yaa ngi use the collective approach theory pour nga mëna am lolu nono, because 200 it becomes more than one voice. So 200 bobu nono sen lobby power it increased dramatically or drastically. So nila society they change. But from direct, we all get actively engaged in it, put no work on change. But some get talk regular and I am frustrated because things are not working to sort it. They did in Gambia 20 years ago, finance and position right now is completely different. They Gambia we have very progressive laws towards women. Gambia is one of free education for all girl child. A lot of Gambian women are now educated. Young and this hospitals. A whole constitute of the nurses population in Gambia, they are women. Doctors is the population. Madam, primary schools, no reassure teachers right now. You did not make a mobility in Gambia children. Kogis Gambia College, no hold the population percentage of students. jigéen moo ëpp ñuy def PTC or ñuy def HTC. So that is a plus to all of us. Recently, we've also seen a personal health laws is banning FGM, even though I'm not a culture against it. But all these things are progressive laws toward women. Again, the family dynamics will change. Man gis naa yenn families in Kobo jabar bi dafa toog añ ñetti soos samedi ak dimanche jëkkër bi dafa liggéey jabar bi dafa liggéey fu njëkk a wàcce ubbi fridge tàngal soos nga chop. Again, loolu change na the family dynamic from having a traditional housewife ko xam ne da nga dem liggéey ñëw fekk mu tegal la añ pour yow nga ñëw léegi wàcce dugal si microwave loolu mi nga am Gambia léegi. So this is how a society progresses. And I think it is important that we have these healthy discussions on TikTok.
Yeah, I like this discussion. I like it. It's good. And one last one, and then I am gone. Hamga Babel tulana kinga hamne momo nyowon mom da parenta mo febar ñu jox ko money pour mu build a cancer and kidney thing in the Gambia. But Gambia was not willing to do that. Even me, it happens to me. But when we pitch our businesses to other African countries, they were very happy to take it. And they give us free stuff and freelance and things to do. What do you think and why do you see that Gambia, your own people who wants to come and develop in the Gambia and continue growing those resources are always negatively isolated, or they don't wanna see that? They want you to bribe or be corrupt. And if you are not a person who deals with bribery and corrupt, how does that work in a country?
No, I want to believe the biggest issue more the stumbling block. The biggest issue more the lack of information in terms of governance and in terms of approach. The citizen they want to approach your government, but department want them for more and the right information and the right decision taken in their project. These are one of the biggest obstacles in Gambia. Gambia, people will be like, okay, I'm not project the Madam Gambia. Number Sidinjai is not the right person to go to. So Ligente number Sidinjai who is a politician, politically wala munna frustrates a project, wala munna stops a project. Well, again, if we have information systems, you have it's online, and it's not very frustrating. Whatever information you want to have from a Gambian ministry online, and them send website, the survey is down 0404, then investment would be much more flow. Maybe a dual citizen, or are you coming in back as a foreign investor? Your number one stop should be Gaita. What are the requirements? What are the documents? Then from there, let them through the registration process, follow the due process. I believe that a lot of people, if they go through the right channel, they will slow, but they will end up getting what they want to get. But again, them through the network route, then that's where all these frustrations happen.
But I think we went through the right channels and we brought all of the things that they asked us to bring on the table. And we did all that. But still, there was a setback and an obstacle. But nyom hamna insisten bopan eli sukoki defe Gambia, dina dimbale domi Gambia, dina dimbale rewi Gambia. But they still corner you in the corner.
Well, again, Tom, I do not know the circumstances surrounding it. But again, I am just using logic for me. So they
because you're good, you will talk down.
Yeah, so they Gambia I'm at a kidney hospital. Is a project it is going to look into the kidney diseases, which I think is growing rapidly in Gambia. Logically, man, I do not see anyone should be selfish enough I am going to stop this from happening.
They stop it, it can happen.
Right, because again, I'm not a competitor in that sector. You want to open a private clinic. Then I can understand maybe the owner of AfriMed or the owner of Buffer or the owner of the other clinics. Okay, probably business will go down. You send networks. But again, these are just opinions without knowing the facts surrounding it. But what I would advise anyone investing in Gambia, go through the right channel. Hire a legal advisor. Mumula advise where to go, what to go. Trying to avoid networks.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really I appreciate this conversation. These are the kind of conversations.
Very low harm. So you say because most of the time it's become chaotic, everybody's all over the place. But I think sometimes it's nice to just listen. Nga dega nit ki fu mo ñëwee ak point si nga fi génne these are the realities you am on the ground whether we like it or not bu ñoo ñëw di xataraayu nii la nale because ñu bëri dañ dee have the incumbent dañ dee have the problems that we have on the ground because at the end of the day you need the votes whether 1 or 2 those are the numbers yoo dee gaada pour nga mun a àgga foofu noonu te plans yi ngeen fi am yëpp however amazing they are you can only achieve them when you get to there to number one Marina Parade foofu ngeen ko mun a defee because of at the end of the day comme li ngeen wax xam nañ ne système bi moo fair